Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Stop Emotional Eating's Masterclass. I am Kim McLaughlin. I am your host, and let's get started because we have a lot to talk about today. Let's see. Who is this for? I want to make sure that everybody that comes is in the right room. This is for when you've tried every diet imaginable and you're still frustrated and overwhelmed with food, eating, dieting, weight, and your body, and you've just not been able to get long-term sustainable results. And when you're feeling out of control with food, hate your body, negative thoughts about food, weight, and overeating. So do those fit for you? And I would love to see you put yes in the chat. Tell me that you are, that you've experienced that I'm not the only one that's experienced feeling out of control with food, hating my body, or having negative thoughts about food and weight and overeating. So yeah, a lot of you are feeling the same way. And what we want to do is we want to have peace with food. We want to have peace with our body, and we want to have peace in our lives. And this problem with overeating and feeling frustrated with food and feeling really upset about our bodies and how they look, they really keep us from feeling that peace in our life. And I want to make sure that you be sure to stay to the end because we have a free Stop Emotional Eating playbook that is a playbook that has tips and tricks from this masterclass that I write down for you, and you get it in a written form, but also it's packed with ideas for you to use moving forward. So it'll be things that we haven't presented, but that you can use in the future for yourself to really help you come to that place of peace with food. Who am I? I'm Kim McLaughlin. I have a Master of Arts degree in clinical psychology. I am a psychotherapist in California. I am a coach. I am a coach actually who is intuitive eating. I'm a certified intuitive eating counselor. So I work with people in intuitive eating around eating issues. I'm a podcaster. My podcast is called Feed Your Soul with Kim. I'm a best-selling author, speaker, and most of all, I am a long-term dieter. So I qualify with all of you for what I've experienced in life and also all the experience I've had with all of my clients. So let's start this out. And I wonder, have you ever eaten or overate and not known why? Have you ever eaten or overeaten and not known why? Are you grasping at weight loss where it's like you never feel like you can quite get there and feeling really upset about your body, feeling ashamed and bad about yourself? I can't tell you how many times I talk with clients and they talk to me about hating their body, hating themselves, not being able to go outside. And most especially now that we're coming on the summer and it being warmer, just not wanting to go outside because they feel so upset about their body that they don't even want to go outside. Or you're waiting for the next diet, waiting for the way you're going to restrict food enough so that your body looks different. I've been working with people for 12 plus years on emotional eating. And so I have a lot of history of working with people focused specifically on this. And one of my clients said, Andrea said, I learned new skills and insights to help me manage my overeating. So it's this thing of learning insight and understanding, but then the skills. So it's not just about being in your head and kind of grasping it, but like, what are the skills I need to move through overeating and into that place of peace with food? I find that that I work with at least fall into three categories, one of three. Either you're dieting, waiting to diet, or done with dieting. And I find that at different points in people's lives, they're in many of these different positions. And really look at that and go, where are you at? And notice, where do you fall into that dieting mindset that we really are, it's literally bred in us, that we learn about dieting from a very early age as the only way to counteract overeating or our body and our weight. What we know, what you guys know anecdotally from research, is that 90% of diets don't have long-term results. So that means 90% of the time it doesn't work. And we keep trying the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And we never get it. But we're being sold to by the diet industry to get us to believe that we should diet and we should diet more. So if dieting doesn't produce the results, 99% of the time there's not long-lasting effect, then we've got to have a different way. When I talk to people about stopping emotional eating, they go, but Kim, I don't know what else to do. What else do I do? Because all we're taught is how to diet. So let's start with a place of being kind and being compassionate with yourself, because a lot of overeating has nothing to do with food. It has to do with a lot of different areas that we're going to talk about tonight that are really what goes wrong when food gets out of hand. Also know that you're not a bad person. This doesn't mean that you have a flaw, that you're damaged and that there's something wrong with you. And you haven't done anything wrong either. Who you are is not wrong, and what you've done is not wrong. It literally is the thing we've been taught, is that when we overeat, when we emotionally eat, when we binge eat, when we don't like our size of our body, we're supposed to diet. And if 90% of diets fail, we have no other option. So let's start from the point of feeling compassion for ourselves and going, oh, hun, this is rough. Let's get a different way of being with food. So we can start with this starting point of what's the number one way to stop emotional eating? The starting spot, the number one way is to notice and recognize and embrace that you're an emotional eater. So here are 6 of the questions I ask people. There are many more, but these are 6 of them that we could go through to see, are you an emotional eater? 1, do you eat when you're not hungry? It's a good question, right? Are you using food to make you feel good? Do you use food in situations where you feel uncomfortable? When you're feeling uncomfortable, are you using food to feel comfortable? I find that happens a lot in family gatherings and a lot around holidays. Are you eating to overfull? Are you eating well past the point of satiation, gentle fullness, and then to overfull? Do you eat to overfull? And do you feel ashamed when you overeat? Do you feel ashamed? And do you feel bad or even ashamed about your body? These are questions that are important to ask yourself, because if there's a yes to these questions, then you're an emotional eater. You eat for emotional reasons. And it's not that we have this feeling and then we instantly eat. It's sometimes it's like there's a lot of play between it. And so these kind of qualify you that you are. And how does that stop emotional eating? It's because we got to know that we are dealing with it. Because once we know that that's the definition and that we meet the definition, then what can we do about it? We can have more of a roadmap of what we can do if we know that we're an emotional eater. What I find is there are 6 components to your emotional eating solution. There are 6 components. So I just wanted to briefly go over them. They're in my program, Emotional Eating Solutions. And it's a program where we talk about how really to have a positive relationship with food and literally come to the table differently. So the 6 components of your emotional eating solutions are: 1, physical. That's noticing your body. Are you hungry? Are you full? We're going to talk about that a little bit more tonight. And just how your body is with food. The second component is emotions. What emotions are showing up? How do you manage them? What do you do with them? How do they interact with the eating part? Then the mental is all of those thoughts that come up, the thoughts that are like the saboteurs and the thoughts that make us think we have to eat and tell us how bad we are and kind of drone on and on. That's part of my story, is that I had a lot of really negative thoughts that would constantly challenge me and led me to eat a lot of the time. So that's the third component. The fourth component is lifestyle, and lifestyle is the your day-to-day activity, how you engage with people, how you engage with food. Do you eat sitting down? Do you walk around and eat? Do you eat in the car? How does it work at work or at home or with your family? So lifestyle is all such a large component of what goes on around food. And then the fifth component is mindfulness, and that is how centered are you and how connected are you back into your body? What I find is that when we emotionally eat and overeat, we're really super disconnected to our body, and we don't have that mindful presence because we've spent so much time being really kind of out of our bodies and disconnected. So that mindfulness brings us back into our physical body in more of a mindful, centered kind of way. And the sixth component is self-love. And self-love is about literally, how do you love yourself? And how much do you care about yourself? I promise you that when you are thinking that there's something wrong with you, when you're ashamed of yourself, when you think you're bad, then you're not loving on yourself. And one of the best ways to move out of emotional eating is to practice more self-love. And like I said, we go into these 6 components in depth in our emotional eating solutions program, which we'll talk about later on, because I don't ever want to present ideas to you guys and then not let you have a way to work through it and to know that you have support to move out of emotional eating. So what can you do to create food freedom? I find it interesting that when I bring up the idea of food freedom, people go, yes, I want that. That's what they say a lot. They really resonate with this idea of food freedom. So let's talk about how to make that happen. So first, or it's the second question that we're answering, but how do you know if you're hungry or full? This is a key way to move into food freedom, is by recognizing whether you're hungry or whether you're full. So I like the red light, green light concept for this. So we look at when to eat. And if you look in the middle, it's when you're satiated, when you're not too hungry, not too full, you're just kind of in the middle. And if you move to the left, you see in the green, which means go, you're having gentle hunger. So gentle hunger is really where we want to start our eating, so that we go into that place on the other side with the yellow is gentle fullness, where we're not too hungry, not too full, but we feel just this gentle fullness. What happens when we go too far to the left and we're too hungry, and that's red, because it's really that danger aspect of danger, because we then end up going to the other side, to the right side, where we're over full, because we know that when we're too hungry, we end up being over full. So a way to move through emotional eating to food freedom is to start really getting back in touch with your body and noticing, am I satiated? Am I experiencing gentle hunger? Am I experiencing too much hunger? So we then start noticing when we have gentle hunger, what does that feel like? Too hungry, when does that feel? What does that feel like? And then gentle fullness and overfull. So then we can start recognizing what's going on, so that we can have an effect of coming to the table when we're having gentle hunger and leaving the table when we have gentle fullness. It's really the antidote to dieting. And it's really, it's not that hard. It's more we've been built into diet over these years. And that's really been the only way we've been told how to interact with food. So what we talk about in Emotional Eating Solutions is how we go much more in depth. I have a whole diagram that we go through about how really you can recognize hunger. But this is a starting spot to start recognizing this. And so I encourage you at your next meal to start asking yourself, am I satiated? Am I experiencing gentle hunger? Too much, too hungry? Am I in the end gently full or overfull? To start recognizing it, because then once we recognize it, we can then start making a different decision and having some different effect. So the next question I want to ask you is, what do you do to sabotage yourself with food? This is when we start to do things that are really going to make it so we have difficulty with food. And I talked earlier about the mental component that has been a big one for me, that it is the part where I really had these thoughts that just led me to eat. And I just never felt like I could manage them. So what do we do is first we start to identify them, the mental saboteurs. And those are the thoughts that are out of control and telling you to do things. Mine would often say, just eat it, Kim, just eat it. You're going to have it anyway. Just eat it. And it was really this part of my mind that was overactive and really a judgy part of my mind that would say, you just go ahead and do it. It was kind of the mean part of my mind. And what we do is start identifying them and then start naming them. Oh, this is that saboteur. This is the part of my mind that's really starting to lead me to overeat. These are the thoughts. Basically, these are the thoughts that are leading me to overeat, and start naming them and calling them out. Because once we start recognizing that they're there, we can then do things to calm them, which is the third part, is to identify, name, then calm them. And there are a lot of ways to calm them. It's really you coming up with the way with, how do I calm those thoughts? One of my prime ways to calm the thoughts after I've identified them and named them is to do something physical. So I'll like to do things like, oh, there's that thought. I'm going to go over here and do something different. So then I can have really have a way of, it's really like distraction, because the thoughts are not leading me in a direction of where I want to go. So I found that that's one tool that I like to use to help me calm down that mental component and that saboteur that wants to lead me to do something that I don't really want to do, like overeat. So, sorry, here we go. So you can see that this doesn't magically happen, that there takes effort, it takes help, it takes a program, it takes an understanding that's different than what we've been taught to help us move through this. And it takes time. So it's not magic, it takes time. We've been, however long you've been overeating and emotionally eating, has been probably years and years and years. I talked with clients earlier, you talk about it being well into childhood. And so it's been 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years that this has been going on. And it's not just going to be cured overnight. That's why when we go on a diet, there's an expectation that it's just going to be done. And that's why diets don't work. That one of the many reasons why they don't work. It takes time, and it takes you making a decision that you want to do it differently. And it's tough to stop emotional eating when you don't know what to do, when you've only been taught one way, which is the diet, and there's no other way. And I want you to know that if you don't have peace with food, if you don't know how to manage your hunger or fullness, and if you don't know how to deal with your emotions or your thoughts, it is so possible. It's possible to change. It's possible to stop. It's doable. It's very doable. And I want you to know that it's something I've done, my clients do, and it's very possible. I want to remind you that we have a gift that when at the end, or actually right now, you can go to get your Stop Emotional Eating playbook and send me your email address. Email me at info@feedyoursoulunlimited.com, info@feedyoursoulunlimited.com. It'll be in your email too. And say, send me the playbook, Kim, so that we can send it to you so you can start practicing some of these ideas and tools that we've been talking about. We talk about doing something differently, and you've learned some ideas today about naming that you're an emotional eater and noticing what's going on, looking at hunger and fullness, and then also those mental saboteurs that go on in your mind. And what you need is you need some place to help. And what we have to offer is emotional eating solutions. And it's a place where you will experience knowing your body's reaction to food. That hungry full that we were just talking about earlier, you literally learn how to walk through noticing when you're hungry, when you're full. There's a whole system that we have. It's called the Am I Hungry system and Am I Full system that walks you through how to look at food differently. Then we look at knowing how to have or how to understand, recognize, and what to do about those emotions that lead you to eat. And really, we have strategies that help you manage them and escape the saboteur thoughts. So those are those thoughts that get out of control that lead you to overeat. And we also help you increase your mindfulness, that part of being more in contact with your body and what your heart tells you to do, and to really focus back in on yourself and being that loving, caring person towards yourself. So Emotional Eating Solutions is really the place to go to get the solution to emotional eating. It's the place to go that is super affordable, that really has all the components you need. It's 8 weeks and it covers all the 6 components. And then we have 8 weeks of content. So the first week is a welcome. The last week is a wellness plan that really gets you all situated. So it's 8 weeks of content, which we're actually presenting live right now. We're presenting it until the middle of May. We're doing it live. So you can come and join and get all of the information as we're presenting it. And then what happens is we put all of that information in video format in our learning portal. We also have a monthly Q&A where you can ask your questions of me live, or you can send them in. We have a habit tracker where you can personalize and look at your habits of how you come to the table with food. We talk about what keeps you mentally stuck. We always have doables. You'll know that when you work with me, that you always have things to do, because inside is okay. This is like what Andrea was talking about when she had her testimonials. Like, inside's great, but we also need to have doables. And lastly, you get into the program for the lifetime of the program. So as long as the program is going, you get access to the program. And really, you want to get in now, because we're in live, but also the investment is super affordable. It's $297. And so after May, we're going to be increasing the prices. So you don't have much longer to get in on that really affordable price of $297. So this is the time. This is the time to start thinking about what can help you, to stop being in the problem and really get into the solution, and step up, put your hand up and say, yes, it's only $297. It is so affordable. And I got to tell you, the videos that we have been doing, the information we've been sharing in Emotional Eating Solutions is been quite dramatic in terms of how it is helping everybody. I want to thank you for joining us. I say this every time, that you could be in so many other places and you could be doing something else. And I really appreciate that you joined us, because this means to me that you are interested in doing something different. You're interested in looking at food differently, coming to the table differently, and being different in your body. And so I thank you for that, and I honor you. Remember to get the Stop Emotional Eating playbook. Email us at info@feedyoursoulunlimited.com. I am Kim McLaughlin. I thank you so much for being a part of this. I look forward to working with you in emotional eating solutions. Bye, everyone.